And then when Jaron reads his poetry, you gotta have it face. You gotta have it. Gotta have it on Jaron when he reads his poetry, okay?
I'm camcording now, okay? Stop camcording boring stuff because we won't want to watch it. I'm really camcording.
I know.
That was good though. I don't like the word, but it's a good. Is it true the more you do it, the easier it is?
Yep.
Huh? It is.
Usually I can stuff and it's really thick, so I really need it running today.
No, not yet.
Okay, can I have everyone's attention?
Hey, how about you shut that door?
We don't need to have
Nate and Jaron are gonna do a performance.
What?
Is Stephanie gonna record it?
Yeah, she's gonna record it.
One sec, let me get farther away.
Start recording.
Have it. I want to watch this good. Not like all moving around.
All right, Steph, right here.
Jerry's gonna preface this for
I'm
us.
gonna preface this poem. Well, as we were driving here, as we passed the Linden exit, we thought we might write Dad a poem for his birthday. And since we have the creative juices of Justin and Nate, since I had Justin and Nate with me, and their freestyle poem writing abilities,
Thank you, Dad.
this poem was written. This poem was written freestyle, meaning that we didn't edit it at all. It just comes out how it comes out. Every sentence, and it's more appreciated that way. So, with no further, and also for those people that don't know my dad, he has certain loves that he likes a lot in his life.
Creative juices are flowing.
Why not the creative
I think
juices?
someone turned off the spigot or cut it down a little.
That's in our poem too. There's a sprinkler.
You have to understand that my dad loves basketball, chess, telling poems.
Paper rounds.
He has a paper route. You have to understand my dad to understand this poem and for it to be fun. So, Nathan's gonna read the poem.
Okay.
Thank you, Dad.
All right.
No, I never get to it.
I know, that's why.
No, I
Because you don't get to now.
Leave him alone.
Oh, I am.
Honey.
Just hold it still, Steph.
We had to get
Okay, the first thing we decided is we needed a title, so we gave this poem a title before we even started it. It's called The Rod of Iron.
What is it?
It's The Rod of Iron. Do you know what that stands for in the Book of Mormon? Who does? Raise their hand. Okay. What is it?
Iron of Rod.
Mark knows.
Mark?
Mark's over there.
Mark?
What's that here?
Mark, what does that mean?
Um,
What does it stand for?
word.
Good job.
What does it stand
Man,
for?
smart. Okay, here we go. The rod of iron. Rod, rod, the loins of which are shod with the armor of God. With his mighty posterity, who can lay sod and sprinkler piping. Soon will be a marriage of one of his daughters of Zion to Judd, a stud. Not a dud or cowardly lion. Rod's three-point skill is addictive like a pill. One-on-one with Rod is like cutthroat. You might as well slit your gill. Your mind is boggled as you look into his eyes, as he thinks of his opponent, small fries. While you think your strategy is keen, he has already jacked 2 rooks and the queen, and positioned your bishop to be stabbed in the spleen. He's the oldest man with a paper route, and without a shadow of a doubt, he's the oldest man with a paper route. All on the porch with only one window shattered. Like bullets whizzing through the air, not a single body battered. The crowd stands in awe. All minds are clattered as he recites his poems. All are flattered. Still working. Newspapers are scattered, gathered, and delivered quick as a flash. On time to open the basketball court doors. Always ready to whip your trash. On the court, he's like a trigger, quicker than any cotton-picking gun. Having fun while tearing you a new one. Many might say he is a tightwad. We beg to differ. You're our friend, Jaren's dad. You're Rod, the iron rod.
That's gonna be framed. I'm gonna put that on the wall.
Where's the one Nate
That
gave?
was written in about 15 minutes.
They called me lightning rod. Where's that
Oh,
one?
I just didn't I'm thinking I put it away.
What's the one Nate wrote? Yeah. I could read that to you guys if I had
Dad, make it so I can like see it.
Do you memorize that?
Let me see stuff.
No, wait,
to.
wait.
Smaller print too.
It's because he likes to wake me up early in the morning to do the paper out with him in the cold.
He got up this morning.
Yeah, Ben was a good helper this morning. Thanks,
Yeah.
Ben.
And because he likes the same things I like. He likes sports and chess, and that's why I like him. Such a competitive person like me, so.
Kathy.
I'm next.
Yeah.
I love you, Dad, because you, I love the way you,
Favorite daughter.
I'm the only daughter alive. He's safe in saying that right now. Because I love how you teach me the scriptures and you just kind of bring them alive. And I love how you tell your poetry to everyone you meet. Even if you don't even know them. It's so cute like that. And that you just have no guile, and I love that about you.
Don't ever try that to Jeff.
I love Dad because he's such a great example to me, especially for the priesthood and following the commandments. Because every time I'm teaching my young men in my word, I always have an example. No matter what the lesson is, I always have an example of someone that follows the gospel and is blessed by it. And I know that, and I've always, and all through my mission, I used my dad as a good example. And I really appreciate Dad for being such a great guy and a good example for everyone around him.
That's why Jared likes him.
I'm just grateful that he married such a good cook.
You're so nice.
Come
Hey, my
over and have a
birthday's on
good
the
meal on
23rd.
Sunday.
Hey, Stu, can I sit
Nice Thanksgiving meal early.
Yeah, on Thanksgiving we're planning on a little dinner and then a little football. The park.
Nice.
You guys, we hope you guys can come.
You're probably going to
You're
lunch.
If we're gonna be in Utah, we'll be here.
You gotta go to Las Vegas?
We don't know yet, dude.
That's the plan.
Probably could.
Las Vegas.
Okay.
I love Rod because he is a great example. He's always sociable, and it doesn't matter. Like the first time I met him, he's your friend. He's always be your friend. He's great. He's Rod, the iron rod.
Thanks, Nate.
I love you, Dad, because you're my dad, and growing up, I don't know, my dad he's always been so patient with me. I think that's one of the things that I've always wanted to be like my dad, is because he's so patient. And so I've always wanted to emulate that, and I've been trying all my life. Someday, maybe I might come to be.
Well, the way you introduced that poem, you sure sound like me.
Thanks, Ben. I think that was a compliment. And I also like Dad because, like what Ben said, it's been fun growing up with a dad that's always interested in the same things you are. Like I've always loved going to play basketball with him in the morning. and
We
going,
could use
and
you.
doing
We
all the
miss you.
sports thing. I like when it comes down to go to the BYU games with me and stuff. It's a lot of fun. And that's only a few reasons why I love you, Dad.
I love Dad because he's my dad, and like he's so nice. Cause like he'd give you like $5 for nothing, and like
I'm buying her
when you
all.
go to the store, he's like always talking to people we don't even know, and he embarrasses me. And that's why
And when we're with your friends, what do you tell your friends?
I don't know, what do I tell him?
Well, whenever I take you and your friends in the car, you always say, "My dad's funny." That's what you tell
No,
them.
I told him that story about when you gave everybody $5.
And so they laugh. They think that's funny.
I guess.
I think you're funny too, Dad.
Okay, Judd.
Whoa.
I'm
What
next.
about Mom? So far.
Oh, we have to go around. I love him because
Mom's always lost.
you just make people happy. I just noticed that. Just like, have fun, play basketball or chess or just cracking jokes or whatever. Just, I don't know.
And he lets
You're
his
always happy.
soon-to-be son-in-law win in chess.
No,
Right,
he
Judd?
didn't let me win, but he let me act like I was doing good. I just noticed that you just like to make people happy and you're always happy and stuff.
I love Dad because he is awesome. I don't know, he's just the best dad you can have because he'll do anything for you. You just ask him to do it. I remember last semester I had this test and I came home to study and I left my notes home. And it was 10 o'clock at night and I had the test the next day, and so he came and drove it down even though he has to get up at 5. So my dad's just awesome. He'll do anything for anybody. And he's really humble. He doesn't judge anybody, and everybody's his friend. I noticed everybody's saying that, but that's just how my dad is. I've never heard him say bad things about anybody, even if they're rude to him, and he's really nice back. He doesn't care. He's oh, they'll get over it. They're just mad or something. So I just love my dad.
Mom, it's your turn. I like Dad because he's my dad. I don't know.
That was mine, Steven.
No, you took mine. Ben took mine too.
Mark.
Yeah, I like Dad the same reason.
Mark, he's like,
Ben does.
I'm gonna play chess with him, maybe that's why.
And
That was
I can play basketball with him in the morning when I grow up older. He'll probably be stopped by now.
No. No, I won't.
Oh, okay.
I can play basketball when I get older, but he'll probably be stopped by then. Getting old.
Mark, why do you like me?
We don't have our
He's gonna
Mark.
play chess with me.
You'll have to take the place of our Mark.
He's gonna play chess with me?
Mark, I'll tell you what.
He's gonna let me win in chess.
Okay, I'll tell you what Becca told me to say. Because you raised Becca. That's what she said.
What about your sister?
You do what, Miss Becca?
Cameron, why do you like me?
I don't do what, Miss Becca? He raised Becca. That's what Becca told me to say.
Hey, Cameron.
Because he's nice.
Thanks. Okay, over here. Jeff?
Well, I like him for his personality. That's what I noticed first off, is he has a great personality, and I can tell he gets along with a lot of people, even though I don't know him that much. But just a first impression, he's a real nice guy, and just good to get to meet him and know who he is.
Woman in yellow blouse.
That's true.
My first impression of Rod is I think he's a very sincere and genuinely nice person that cares about people and accepts them for how they are, and I think that's great.
She really likes how he remembers names.
Woman who has husband in Arizona.
I like you because you're the first person I've met that reminds me of Jeff. Like just that. No, it's just really personable.
I hope that's all good.
No, it is.
For you.
Jeff is like really happy.
That is good, Jeff.
I hope.
So, yeah, crazy and funny.
That's what I was gonna say, because he was like my dad. And because he raised Becca.
You like Becca so far?
Yeah.
I like Becca.
We told Chad that even if they break up, that we're still gonna like him.
It's not funny.
Hi, Anya.
Oh, you want me to say it?
How did I meet you? Do you ever remember that?
Well, I was in the institute, and he was playing chess in the corner. And this boy was asking me out, and he was a real loud boy, and kind of embarrassing. And he would always go down the halls and make loud noises to me, and he'll ask me out in front of everybody. And so he asked me to the Christmas dance. He said, "Yeah, you're going to the Christmas dance with me, aren't you?" And I said, "What?" And I had the job of writing the missionaries for the institute, and all the servicemen. So I was writing my letters, and he just wouldn't leave me alone, this boy. And so I told him I had a date for the Christmas dance, but I really didn't. And he says, "You don't have a date?" And I said, "Yeah, I have a date." And so Rod came up and says, "Yeah, I'm her date." "You are?" And we've been going out ever since.
And that boy, when I went over there, that boy just left.
But he played a trick on me because even though we met that first time, my friend Gloria Fastabin was his friend, and I didn't know that. And she said, "I have a blind date for you for Saturday night." And I said, "You do? I don't like blind dates." And she said, "Well, he's really cool. You'll like him." So I said, "Okay, just this once." So then I went home, and the next thing I knew, I get a telephone call, and it's Rod, and he asked me to the same dance. And he said, "Can you go to this dance?" And I said, "Oh, I got a date. I can't go to this, somebody, I don't know who this date is, but my girlfriend set me up." He says, "Okay." So guess who's at the door?
So he knew
he's the
about this
blind
all
date,
along.
yeah.
He and his mom would break the blind date to go out.
What if
He's
she would have
really
broke the blind
bold,
date?
'cause he tried to kiss me on the first date under the mistletoe.
You did?
Well, there was. That's where Jerry gets
Bryce gets it from me.
Was Bryce the first?
there was legitimate
I would've let him.
mistletoe.
And he's Iron Rod, and I'm Tin Lizzy. So
Tin Liz?
we go together.
We'll write you a poem about Tin
Tin
Liz.
Lizzy.
Tin Lizzy?
Tin Lizzy and Iron Rod.
Go for the Tin
But
Lizzy.
my birthday's the 23rd.
She wants your creative juices to start flowing down for her.
Anyway, I love Rod because he has always been such a positive influence, and he never gets discouraged about anything. We could be like going to school for 25 years and he'd still be happy. And like nothing is really that serious to him because he takes life as it is, and he doesn't get real upset about anything. Even yesterday when I told him I got Becca's wedding dress, and she was gonna borrow it. Instead we went and bought her one. He didn't get upset at me, and I just love him because he's so sweet. And I could probably get anything I wanted out of him, but I don't try that hard. But I could get anything I want out of him. So, and he has a lot of faith, and I love you.
I guess the only one that hasn't talked is
You. Why do you love yourself?
Keith.
I'm camcording.
Easy stuff, you know.
I love how good I am at basketball.
Okay, as you know, I like to practice basketball, and 3 days ago when I was shooting, I made 10 3-pointers in a row before I missed. And 2 Sundays ago, on this court here, Stephen was rebounding for me. I made 20, was it 25? 25 foul shots in a row before I missed.
Don't the Jazz. Last 5 minutes of the game.
So we've talked about poetry, so for my encore,
Yeah, Rod has about 200 poems memorized.
200? No, he doesn't. 10.
I don't think it's too long.
I think
I told one about I wish my daddy was a dog.
No,
Since it's
I want to hear Pioneer Woman.
Okay, well, I like Pioneer Woman better.
I want to hear this one next time.
Hey Jen, this is the poem
Yeah,
I was
that
telling you
one.
about.
I
Pioneer
don't know
Woman.
how to get Dad.
Do you think you
This
could?
poem, my mom wrote it, and I was telling you about it last week.
Sure.
See,
Put some orange visor in the car.
Pioneer Woman.
Pioneer Woman.
Okay.
How's it start? I never always go in the right direction.
I'm ready, dude. I'm not gonna get dressed.
Okay,
Are you going to Clark tonight?
I never knew
I don't
her.
know.
You don't know.
I never
Dude,
knew her.
we gotta do this in 3 weeks in front of state conference.
Hey, Ben.
What?
Ben,
It's next week. Ben.
Okay, we were waiting for him to get his memory going.
Okay, I never knew her, yet she touched me so, the Pioneer Woman of long ago. She made her fire with flat buffalo chips, but just like me, saw the baby on her hips. Her heavy oaken bucket that she carried from the creek provided cool, pure water for her family. Just like me, so concerned that each was fed, that every night there was a spot for them to lay their head. She would often help her neighbor take in food or tend a child. Just like me, her schedule was somewhat wild. She gave simple acts of courage. Her desire was to be strong. Just like me, it helped to sing a song. I feel because she lived so well, my hopes and dreams will last. I can learn an awful lot of things from this woman of the past. Her arms sometimes ache with long days and little sleep. Just like me, her worries made her weep. For though generations far apart, our goals are just the same, to raise a righteous family that will grow to bless God's name. She saw many blessings and joys within her life. Just like me, she was a mother and a wife. By Liz Jensen.
That's cool, I like that.
Hey, Dad. Dad, tell Little Lost Sid.
Little Lost Sid?
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Ben's taking after me. He memorized this one. Little Lost Sid was a Chinese kid and a cute little cuss, I declare, with eyes full of fun and a nose that begun right up to the roots of his hair. Jolly and fat was his frolicsome brat as he played through the long summer day. And he braided his cue like his father used to in Chinaland far, far away. One day on the green that a Sid played upon, a bumblebee flew in the spring. Ah, the American butterfly, said Little Lost Sid, his winky eye. Me smash him, put him off wings. So with his cap he hid it a rap, that innocent bumblebee, and put his remains in the seat of his jeans. For a pocket there had this Chinese. Then down on the green sat Little Lost Sid in a manner that was strangely demure, and said with a grin that was brimful of sin, "Me massive American butterfly." Now Little Lost Sid was only a kid, nor could you expect him to guess what kind of a bug he was holding so snug in the folds of his loose-fitting dress. I cried Little Lost Sid as he hurriedly rode from the spot. Man, a good man, bullfly. He'd be very much hot.
Hold on. One time at Fathers and Sons, me and my friends were staying up all night, and I think 2 of the adults were out there with us. And we were just making jokes, cracking up, and Dad told that poem. We laughed for like 10 minutes. It was so funny. Even though I've already heard it like 10 years.
One day, when Bryce was just a lad, first starting out in school, he came into my workshop and climbed upon a stool. I saw him as he entered, but I hadn't time to play, so I merely nodded to him and said, "Don't get in the way." He sat a while, just thinking, as quiet as can be, then carefully got down and came and stood by me. He said, "Old Shep, he never works. He has lots of fun. He runs around the meadow and barks up at the sun. He chases after rabbits and always scares the cat. He likes to chew on old shoes and sometimes mother's hat. But when we get tired, we sit down on a log to rest. I sometimes get to thinking, I wish my daddy was a dog. Because then when I came home from school, you'd run and lick my hand and we would jump and holler and tumble in the sun. And we would play the whole day through. Just my dad and I. Now, Dad, I know you work real hard to buy us food and clothes, and you have to get the girls those fancy ribbons and bows. But sometimes when I'm lonesome, I think it'd be a lot of fun if my daddy was a dog and all his work was done." Well, when he finished talking, he looked so lonely there, I reached my hand out to him and ruffled up his hair. And as I turned my head aside to brush away a tear, I thought how nice it is to have my son so near. Now I know the Lord didn't mean for man to toil his whole life through. So come, my son, I'm sure I have time for you. Oh, you should have seen the sunlight and joy in his eyes. We went outside to play, just my son and I. And now as the years have slipped away and youth has flown, I've always tried to keep some time to play. And as I pause and reminisce and think of joys and strife, I carefully turn the pages of this Wanderer's Book of Life. And in that log of entries, one of the richest ones I find is the day a small boy whispered, "I wish my daddy was a dog." Okay, well, what are we going to do now? Cake, I guess, Liz?
Okay.
I can cut Chris and I.